compassionate. Keep loving. Show that you care. Be kind. Be compassionate.
All right.
Keep loving.
Thank you very much. Let's have our seat. Let's return to us. Hello, thank you.
Maybe struggling. Come need your help. So be kind. Be compassionate.
I saw me doing more. Oh, that's nice. It's good. Please, let's take our seat. Let's take our seat. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Be compassionate. Keep loving. Show that you care.
Every one of us, the staff, the students, the parents, it doesn't matter what people do in the school. Everybody matters in the school. You see, as a school, we've been working very hard for good school outcome. Today I heard the report of the IGCSE results and I was excited. Can we clap for ourselves for what we are doing? We want excellent results, and we got some this year. Although there's always something that we wish were better, right? We want to see bullying go down in our school. And for a long time now, it's all over our campuses, both Kumasi and Accra. We want our staff to grow better professionally and grow in what they do so they can be a better version of themselves. And we want to see ICS become a thriving institution where every child succeeds, not some. Every child succeeds. Our mantra, as you know, for so many years have been no child left behind. Everyone is an achiever. And for this reason, we organize a number of professional development. We have master classes. We introduce new programs like we've done the past 2 years, Magic School AI, new policies on safeguarding, and we come up with strategies all the time to make sure we can achieve all these great objectives that we have set for ourselves. But what if all the things that we want to do could be achieved by looking at families to explore what I consider to be novel, something new. Now, kindness and compassion, they are not just something nice to have, but I'll be contending this morning that they can be a foundation for the outcome that we seek in our school. And I'm sure you are thinking, kindness, compassion? What has that got to do with all the things that we do in school? Well, you found out in the course of my remarks. There are 3 quotes that I really like when it comes to relationships, compassion and kindness, but this time about relationship. This is from Theodore Roosevelt. Students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Now, this is true in everyday life too, right? It's not just only in school. People that you relate to, people that you come across with, and people that you interact with, even in families. People don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care. And this from James Comer from the Yale Child Study Center. And this is significant. And he says, no significant learning occurs without a significant relationship. Now let it sink. No significant learning occurs without a significant relationship. And the one that I like perhaps the most is from the renowned educator Rita Pearson. And she writes, kids will rise to the level of expectation we have for them, but only if they believe you care. Children, everywhere. In Kumasi, in Accra, everywhere that you find children in school, they can rise to the expectation that we expect of them. Only if they knew, only if they found out that we care deeply about them. Now, I would like to see these quotes, and I'll share with the leadership, posted everywhere, not just for this year, everywhere, in our corridors, in classrooms, teachers' rooms, everywhere, because they are powerful reminders about the power of relationship towards better school outcome. And what I've just talked about relationship and its outcome and what these educators have said is backed by research, by the way. Research has shown that when a child walks into a classroom, every child, their brain is constantly asking one question: am I safe here? If the answer is no, they don't trust. And if they don't trust the adult in the room, in this case the teacher, they get disconnected. Their brain activates what is called the amygdala, the threat detection center. Cortisol floods their system, their prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for learning, memory, and rational thinking, goes quickly offline. But when a child has even one caring adult in school, so this time it doesn't have to be a teacher, it can be somebody in the office, it can be somebody in the counseling office, it can be somebody that is in the kitchen. If a child has one caring adult in the school, something remarkable happens. The safe attachment tells the brain, you can relax. You are protected. And the threat scanning stops. So that is relationship for you and how it plays out in school environment. Dr. Bruce Perry has called this, and it's a big word, neurosequential development. And he demonstrated in his work that trauma and stress And disconnection literally rewire a child's brain. But so does safety, consistency, and care. So the point here is that relationship isn't just a bonus feature of education. It's not something that we must throw into it. It is something that can be a prerequisite for better school and educational outcome. So let me share some few more research that shows how relationship impacts school outcomes. Students with secure relationship with teachers show increased activation in the brain regions associated with reward, motivation, and memory consolidation. In other words, their brains are literally wired for learning when they feel connected, when they feel cared for. There is something called safe attachment. When a student has at least one adult in school, it makes the child feel better. Students get a buy-in, and we want students to have a buy-in in school. If they don't have a buy-in, they tune off. I'm sure over the years, there are students in our class, and we always wonder, why is this child not showing up and responding? But we have difficulty understanding. For some time now in our school, we have introduced belonging Thursdays. And we found it quite difficult having to really activate it in the school and work on it. Because for a lot of us, when we have taught from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and the week is about to end, we are tired, and the school is telling us, go and sit with the students and eat with them, doesn't the school leadership know that we're actually tired and that we need time for ourselves? But if we knew that relationship with students actually is a prerequisite for good outcome, it will not be something that we have to whip staff around. I have had so many times gone to the cafeteria and they say, please move, please move, please move. So I can understand, because we feel that the times that is necessary for our work with students is what we do in the classroom. When the classroom work is over, we need time for ourselves. Because we don't realize that what happens on the corridors, what happens when we encounter students, in the stairways, all those periods of encounter counter and contribute to what happens in the classrooms. Relationship. There was every indication by research that students mentally and emotionally become ready when they see you have to get it all right. And if you misbehave, you're going to get an F in front of your name. And this is not the first time I'm saying this, but I've said it so many times. If I were a teacher in a class and I was dishing out grades, I'll always be questioning myself anytime I put a grade of F or D or E in front of a student. Because what I give to a student is a reflection of who I am as a teacher. Do you agree or disagree? It's debatable maybe for some of us. It depends on what kind of school you are from. Do you belong to the old school or the new school? I like to make a case that having compassion in class, now listen to me, having compassion in class does not lower academic standards. In fact, compassion in class is a pathway towards higher academic standards. Because what it means is that the teacher is scanning the room like the child who feels unsafe, does, right? And the teacher is thinking all the time, who can I support? Who can I help and elevate in my class? And I want to challenge us that often the people that need the support the most are the kids that give us the most difficulty in class. Because a teacher with compassion wants to understand what is going on with this child that is not responding the way others are responding. So let me repeat, compassion is not lowering the standards. What I'm talking about, bringing compassion to school is not saying, okay, let's drop all the high standards that we expect of our students. It's a pathway, it's a gateway towards higher standards. I wrote this down last night. And I think in my reflection, and this is what I wrote. We have no business being in school business if all that we care about is collect school fees, teach children, get paid, and leave the outcome of our efforts to only the efforts of our learners. Let me repeat it. We have no business being in school business if all that we care about is collect school fees, teach children, get paid, and leave the outcome of our efforts to only the efforts of our learners. If we have compassion, it changes all of that. Because the outcome we seek in school as adults, whether as administrators or as teachers, cannot be outsourced to the students. You know what I mean by that? The grades that we want, the results that we want, the outcome that we want in school cannot be outsourced to the students. We cannot expect them only to make it happen. We are adults in the room. We are leaders in the room. The outcome depends greatly on us. So that's compassion. What about kindness? Kindness is compassion with boundaries. Let me explain what I mean. We have students that sometimes will disrupt classes. And what does kindness do? Kindness says, I won't let you disrupt classes, but I won't humiliate you either. Now, I know from the culture in which we live and how we are brought up, what we can't stand is when students challenge our authority. Right? That is very, very hard. Now, I have faced it myself. Here in the school, I remember many years ago in Kumasi, there was a boy in the boarding house that was misbehaving. And I asked him to come out of the boarding house, and he won't. And I felt, can you imagine? The director of the school says, come out. And the boy says, I am not. My parents have paid my school fees. I'm not going to come out. Now, what do you do? And then I found out this boy He was huge and tall. And with my little hands and body, I was trying to push this boy out. And he won't move an inch. So I guess I have to tell myself, I guess I can't do this. I have to find help. Kindness requires us to understand people that we are dealing with and treat them with care and kindness. There is what psychologists call a warm demander. And it is someone who holds high expectations but offers high support. So think about it. And today I want to enroll all of you as fellows of high demanders. Warm demanders, sorry. And what that means is that we demand and we expect great outcome from all our students. So I am not in any way suggesting that let's lower the bar, let's lower the standards. But with high expectation comes with high support. Can you say that with me? With high expectations come with high support. And this is something that all students, everywhere they are, at Pechi, here at Obojo, and Apatase, every one of them can respond to that. Warm demanders. Warm. You know, you are warm, right? And you are demanding. So think about it that way. Anytime you are thinking about the outcome that you want from your students. And by the way, I know in this room and in our school, we just don't have teachers, we have administrators. And all of us play huge roles in ensuring that we have created not just a safe environment, but a caring environment. You know, it is very common for schools to stress more safe environment because of our safeguarding protocols and all of that. But equally important is a truly caring school environment. We know that students who experience warm demanders, staff that are warm demanders, perform higher academically. They become more resilient in school. They have a strong sense of belonging in the school community. And they have lower anxiety and depression. Now think about your class and the student that is, you know, sometimes it's not even what you expect. It's also from the parents. For the years we have run the school, we know parents, if they have 2 or 3 kids, and one is doing very well, and the others are not, they put immense pressure on the other kids and are not responding. That is natural expectation of parents. They want every child of them to do better. But what often is lacking is the support that must accompany the demand that we want. And that is what I want to throw to all of us. Yes, raise the standards high. Make sure the goal is for everybody to get A star and A. And that should be the standard that we go for. That should be the standard we push every student for. But we do that with determination and with high support that I will leave no stone unturned, as I leave no stone unturned as a teacher to ensure that every child that I expect A star from, I will go all out to make sure he gets that grade. I will not outsource. And listen to these words. I will not outsource the outcome that I want in my class to the efforts of the students alone. Can you say that with me? I will not outsource the outcome I want to the efforts of the students alone. And you know what I mean by that, right? You know, because sometimes in our class, it depends on the student. Me, I go, I teach, and then the rest is for the students to learn and pass my exams. Now, schools with compassion and kindness don't do that. Teachers with compassion and kindness don't. So you just don't show up, teach, test, and then leave the outcome to how the students perform. No, we can't do that. There was a Langman study by one Barbara Fredrickson on positivity ratios. And she found out that students in class with a higher level of positive emotion and supportive relationships showed improved memory, consolidation, and problem-solving abilities. The magic ratio. For every one negative interaction, students need at least, 3 positive interactions to maintain psychological safety and engagement. Students in schools that have good relationships, compassion and kindness, have better mental health, better physical health. And there is a direct link between school climate and students' well-being. But the one thing that I want to talk about now is the bullying, which for us has become quite an issue. Last year, just before this academic year, just before the school ended, I had to make a decision and convince core management to come along with me to pardon some students who had misbehaved and basically reinstate them because I had just introduced this compassion and kindness motif. And we had a debate about it. These were 13, 14-year-olds, some 12-year-olds. And the practice of the school has been throw them out, punish them. Sometimes let them go for 2 weeks suspension, sometimes for indefinite suspension, sometimes they don't return to the school. And I made a decision, let's reinstate them with support. With support. Now the verdict is not out yet because it was just tried right at the end of the school year. But Mr. Kunedo, you know the case that I'm talking about. This is a case we want to follow up. Because I really want this to be an experiment, of what we are talking about. That compassion and kindness can really turn things around. And we did a little bit of research about some of the students, especially the ringleader. And we knew exactly what he does is backed by what I'm talking about. The home environment makes a lot of children that we do what they are. And so some support, some empathy can go a long way to support them. But there's something I want to talk about that I like. It is about the person who gives compassion and kindness. Have you ever given something to someone and saw the smile in the person's face? And what did that make you feel? Did somebody say nothing? Happy. When you are kind, towards somebody, do you know that happiness that the person experiences because of your gesture of kindness actually reverts to you? And that you actually become happy yourself. In fact, there is research that backs that. Kindness benefits the giver too. Doesn't even the Bible says that? What does the Bible say? Something similar to this. About giving. Say it again. And you know that passage, when it is quoted in church, it is often used to get more money from people, right? And when the scripture says there's more blessing in giving than receiving, the receiving that the scripture is talking about, it's not about receiving more. It is receiving the blessings of giving. Now, obviously, when we give, we receive. But there is more to that receiving than just getting more money or blessings from God. Kindness is not just good for the recipient. It transforms the giver. And you'll be amazed some of the things that it does to us. Teachers who practice compassion and kindness in schools that have gone through this report this. They experience lower burnout and compassion fatigue. They experience greater job satisfaction. They experience stronger relationship with students and colleagues. Educators that are kind and compassionate experience, and listen to this, better mental and physical health. And who wouldn't want this? I mean, how many of you don't want what I've just listed? Lower burnout and compassion. You know, when your classroom is, hey, you know, and every child is, you know, misbehaving and you have difficulty. Do you know that actually affect your mental health? In fact, when we did the Tech Innovation, I went to one of the booths. And some of the students have invented something to control noise level in their class. And I asked them, why did they do this? And you'll be shocked. They said, it is for the mental well-being of our teachers. Because they said, the kids, this person has done it. So if the noise level of the class is controlled, the teachers will feel better. Mr. Akunedu, we have to find that research and make sure it is everywhere, because when we experience overwhelming calmness and quietness in our classrooms, if we contribute to making relationship, compassion, and kindness the order in our school, it will bring that calmness that we need for our own mental health and well-being. So basically what I'm saying is that what I'm asking us to do is not, Dr. Yeboah, the baby, dear you have the kindness, compassion, and also the crying. So now you know it. In fact, one study followed teachers over 3 years. Those who engage in regular acts of kindness and compassion showed significantly lower rates of depression. Did you hear that? A lower level of anxiety. And they scored higher rates of life satisfaction. This is something we all want for ourselves. If this is true, and the research is true, we would want to embrace this, go all the way to make it become the order of our campus. Because you see, I cannot preach that we extend compassion and kindness to every child in the school if it's not going to help each one of us, especially as adults. Because it won't be sustainable. If I ask you to do something that is not beneficial to you, what I ask you to do will not last. And I'm glad that research backs what we are talking about. When I was thinking about compassion and kindness in relationship, I will be very, very honest with you. I had not done any research to back this. I just knew somehow that it will help because we've run this school for many years and we know where our students are at. So as I conclude, I invite you to imagine what ICS could be like 3 years, 5 years from now. Imagine walking into our schools in the future. And you see teachers greeting students by name at the door. No student passing a staff or a teacher passing a student without greeting, stopping to greet and to say, how are you doing? You see students helping each other without being asked instead of bullying them. You see conflicts being resolved through conversations, not punishment. You see a principal stooping to help a child that is struggling because he's a teacher and he understands what it takes to support students. You see teachers and staff seeing every child is worth our time, our support, and because they do. You see families involved because they feel welcome and valued, and that ICS is the place that they want to be. You see a culture where kindness isn't just an exception, it's become a way of life in our school. It's become the norm. And you see teachers and staff experiencing daily overwhelming calmness and a school culture that supports their well-being instead of stress and constant burnout. This, fellow educators, must not be just a dream. That's what ICS can become if we prioritize relationship, kindness, and compassion. So compassion and kindness is not just something nice that we must throw into what we do. It can become a foundation for the kind of school that we want. The question I have for you this morning, as we prepare for the new academic year, is this. Will we have the courage to make it our reality? Because here is what I know. I've been around long enough to know a little bit about some of us and all of us. Every one of you from preschool to high school, from master teachers to newly employed assistant teacher, from admission to accounts, from stores through kitchen to estate, and so on and so forth. I know you are here because you care. Now, this may not be your permanent place. You may not have intended to be an educational institution in the first place, but you have ended up being here. And you may have plans to move on to something else or to somewhere else. But deep within you, I know every one of you care. And that you care about what you do here at ICS. And that you care for the students, even if sometimes you struggle to show it. And that you have deep interest in everybody's well-being in the school. And that you care about learning. And so please hear me. This work I'm calling for a reset, this work of building relationship, of practicing compassion, and of spreading kindness is not separate from what a lot of you deeply care about. So let's do this together. Let's make ICS a place where every student and staff feel seen. Every student and staff feel valued. Every student and staff feel known. And let's make it a place where kindness isn't a theme on a wall, but an identity and a way of life. Let's go out there and make ICS the greatest institution that anybody can find. Not because we have the most educated people in this place, but we have people that are willing to build relationship, people full of compassion, and people full of kindness. Thank you very much for your attention.
Wow. One thing I took out of this was that no significant learning can take place without a significant relationship. Thank you very much, Doctor.
And so, thank you very much, Doctor. I think with your presentation, we need to tweak the theme also, because the theme restricts it to only school outcomes. But with what you said, I think it should rather be resetting the agenda for better school and personal outcomes, because relationship, kindness, and compassion does not only benefit the school, it benefits you as a person.